Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here, and welcome to Mornings with 60 and Me. Today is Tuesday, it's October the 11th. I hope you all had a great weekend. I know you had Thanksgiving in Canada and Columbus Day in the United States, but to all the women around the world, hope you had a great weekend and a good Monday and are getting into the week. So I've got my cup of tea this morning. I decided to make peppermint, which is the tea that supposedly energizes your senses. So I'm energized this morning. But anyway, peppermint tea, very nice. So yeah, grab a cup of tea or coffee. Thanks for being here and starting your morning with 60 and Me. I'll bring you up to speed on some of the world news, and then we'll go into a couple of articles I think you're going to find interesting. So stay tuned. Now, first of all, in Haiti. Now, Haiti was devastated, as you know, by Hurricane Matthew. There's about 60,000 people that are still in shelters, and there are many towns without power. In some, 80% of the buildings have been destroyed. So they really are struggling to get on their feet. There's food and medicine just beginning to arrive, and that's great news for people that have been without it for several days. And this is just the beginning, though, of the cleanup and the recovery. One of the big things that they're worried about in Haiti is the recurrence of cholera. Now, if you remember, Haiti has had, I think, two other earthquakes and one other hurricane in the last few years that have affected them. So they are already very fragile. But the return of cholera is a big worry to them. It's a waterborne disease. People catch it by drinking dirty water, which is sometimes all there is in these situations. But the first case was admitted to hospital yesterday, and I'm sure that there will be more. So our hearts go out to the people in Haiti. It's just a really, really tragic situation. Mother Nature can be so cruel sometimes. So let's just send them good wishes. Now, in France, as you remember last week, the French government proposed a resolution at the United Nations for Russia and the Syrian government to stop bombing in Aleppo. And it was vetoed by Russia. And as a result of that, France is taking an inquiry now to the International Court of Criminal Court for War Crimes to find out how they would go about starting a procedure to charge maybe Russia or Syria for war crimes in Aleppo. And this is the next step in trying to stop the fighting there. Now, it's a little embarrassing because President Putin is coming to France for a scheduled visit that was planned, a while ago, and he's going to have a chance to talk to President Hollande, which will be interesting conversation, I'm sure. But at least they're talking. This is a good thing, and they're talking hopefully constructively. Now, in the United States, I wanted just to cover one more time a story that we talked about a few weeks ago. This is the protest in North Dakota. It goes to one of the Indian reservations, the Sioux reservation, and there was a protest again yesterday for this pipeline, which will go through 4 different states. It's Iowa, North Dakota, and then South Dakota and Illinois. So all these states will have the pipeline going through them, and it will affect their infrastructure. Environmentalists say that it's going to hurt the water levels and affect the environment. But the people who are building the pipeline say, it's good for the economy and, in fact, safer to bring oil through by train than by train or truck. So there's this protest going on, and people were arrested yesterday for trespassing. It's a very big issue, and I know a lot of our women are concerned about it. And I know there's probably far more to this story to report, but that's where we are right now. You remember a few weeks ago, there was a discussion about this pipeline also going through sacred Indian territory. The Indian tribes were protesting about that. So all in all, it's quite an interesting story. So let's see how it develops. Now, this today is the International Day of the Girl Child. Now, this is a United Nations Day that honors girl children and highlights the discrimination that they face around the world. And, the numbers are 1.1 billion girls, this is under the age of 18, in the world today. And, they've got incredible talent and skills to offer, but many of them live in countries where there are cultural issues or practices and beliefs that hold them back. And they're a very powerful group, but when they're married at age 14, 15, their education stops and they're just not able to find their potential. So today is a day to celebrate girls and to make sure that we highlight those issues that are holding them back and give them our support and encouragement. And women over 60 are just great mentors for younger girls too. So, in Africa, for example, there's I think 1 in every 4 girls is married under the age of 18. We don't have that same problem in some of the developed countries, but, we can be mentors to these young girls in our communities. And if you know someone that maybe you could give a hug to today and tell her she's doing great, that would be wonderful. So, International Day for the Girls today. Now, talking about the grown-up girls, that's us. I found a story that I just thought was really interesting to report. And some of you are going to be probably nodding your heads and yes, I want this. And others will be, no, not so much. But this is a story about creative living and a minimalist lifestyle. We talked a little bit about tiny houses and living in a very small place. But a developer in Providence, Rhode Island, found an old shopping mall. And this is in Providence, Rhode Island. It was called the Arcade. It's actually a national landmark. It was built in 1828, and it was the first indoor mall in the United States. But it went bankrupt and was left to go into ruin. But this developer, his name Ian Graniff, he bought the Arcade and decided he was going to take the top half and turn it into small apartments. So he built this really beautiful little living space. There's, I think, 20 or so little apartments. Most of them are 225 square feet, tiny, and it's just really beautiful. You can look at the video. We'll give you the link. There's a little article about different women and I think men too living there, and how they live in this very small space. And to me, it looks great. I think that a lot of older women would love these spaces. But anyway, it turns out that most of the residents love it there. It's mostly older people who, just feel like they don't need a lot of space anymore. They need just a bed, a little kitchen, and a small living space, and they're happy because they're off traveling or doing other things and saving their money for things that are important to them. So they feel safe and cozy. Now, the rent is about $500 a month, so that's very affordable in the United States. And it's just an idea for living in our 60s. What do you think? It's a question for you. Would you live in a small 225 square foot apartment? I think they're really sweet. And down below on the bottom level is the wide open arcade space, so you can go for walks and have a communal area. And also, I believe there are shops there as well in the ground floor now. So you're living above a mall. And not that you have to shop every day, but it's just a nice environment and very bright and cheery. So anyway, that's the Arcade Mall and this new idea of shoebox living. Would that be your style? I just think it's fascinating. I think I'd do it, for sure. Now, another thing I wanted to challenge or to ask you about is what you do in your spare time. And, I love our bloggers. We have some tremendous writers who write with 60andMe for our community, and they write about all kinds of things, from fashion to retirement to caregiving, travel, all kinds of cool stuff. But we have a wonderful blogger. She's fairly new. Her name is Nancy Queen, and she is the owner of nobleknits.com. And she wrote an article for us on knitting, which for me is one of my favorite pastimes. I love to knit. It's really relaxing, and I just love the colors and the textures that you can create with knitting. Maybe you do crochet or some other yarn hobby, but Nancy talks about knitting and the 5 ways that it keeps your brain smart, or it keeps it sharp. And I'd like to go through these with you and get your feedback. Do you knit for any of these reasons? And if you're not knitting, does it intrigue you to start? So here we go. First of all, Nancy says that, first of all, there's 50 million people that knit or crochet in this world. So you're not alone. It's a very common hobby and people love it. But one of the reasons is because it reduces stress and anxiety. And this is not just because you're sitting still and you're just doing something. The repetitive nature of knitting, one stitch after the other, tells your brain to calm down. It's actually a chemical thing. So it's very interesting that just 15 minutes can help you calm down and relax. That's one thing. Helps you unwind. And you can do it anywhere, sitting in bed, sitting on the sofa, out on a park bench. It's very mobile. And then the second thing is it does develop motor skills. Now, I'm a pretty slow knitter, but I've watched some people who are good at knitting. They really fly. My mom was an excellent knitter, and I just used to sit and watch her. It was incredible. But it really does improve hand-eye coordination. So that's good for your brain, too. Now, it banishes unhealthy habits. I love this one because, of course, you can't eat food or smoke cigarettes or do anything that's kind of bad for your body while you're knitting. You've got your hands doing something else. So they help you, they prevent you from nibbling on those cookies and cakes or food you don't really want to eat, just, nervous habit, and they give you something to do with your hands. So that's a good thing too. And by the way, Nancy points out that if you knit for 2 hours, guess how many calories you can burn? It's 204. I don't know how someone measured this, but if you're knitting, just going for it, 204 calories for 2 hours. So that's a good thing. It improves your social life. And this is true because even in my town, there are knitting groups where you can get together with other women and you can knit together, you can chat, get to know other people with like-minded interests. And it's really fun. And even online, there are all kinds of knitting groups and forums that you can join, and meetup groups. Talk a lot about them that you can just join and knit together. And of course, there are the groups that knit for charities. And I have a lot of admiration for these women. There's a lot of them. I know of a couple, but there's Knit for AIDS, Knit for Peace. These are groups that they knit little scarves or squares, quilts, and then they send them off to people that need them. So there's a great charitable angle as well to knitting. So make friends and do good with knitting. So that's Nancy's ideas for how knitting can help your brain and help your social life and your health and stress. So I would suggest that grab a little ball of wool and just try making a tiny scarf. I like making those little scarves. They're very easy, just plain stitch. They work for me. So that's our article on knitting. Let us know what you think about that. And finally, today is a day that maybe some of you will relate to. This is one of our these funny days I always talk about to celebrate. It's not pecan pie or cheesecake day, but it's Face Your Fears Day. Now, this is a day when you get to think about some things that you might be afraid of doing, afraid of experiencing, and to reflect on how it might be impacting your life. What things you could end up doing with your life if you weren't afraid of it. So, what you would do differently if you could just overcome that fear. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I have some fears. Now, there are the ones that are fairly logical, like I don't like spiders. I'm really afraid I'm kind of afraid of insects. I don't like insects very much, and part of it's because I have an allergy to ants. I don't like ants. So ants, spiders, I'm really afraid of them. And I think that I've already tried to address what to do differently. I always take my EpiPen. I always take my medicines or my antihistamines, and I'm just prepared because I don't let it stop my life anymore. If I look for, does a place have these ants? If it does, I just try to do my best to avoid them. But I am also afraid of flying. I'll admit this one. I don't like flying very much. I love trains. I love being on the ground. Now, I do fly. I've overcome that fear. But maybe that's one of the fears that you have. Or maybe it's a fear of trains. So if you could just have a thought about that. I think today is a day to just dig deep and think about not just the fear, but what it's holding you back from doing and how you could maybe adapt. I know it's tough, and there's lots of fears that we have in this wonderfully crazy world. It's very unpredictable. So anyway, those are some thoughts for the day, things to get you thinking. Now, again, before we close, I want to thank you, and I really do mean this. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for starting your day with 60andme, and ask you again to just go up to 60andme.com/mornings and sign up to get the news first. And also tell a friend, someone that you know that would enjoy having this little jump start to their morning. And I'm just very grateful for you all being here. So my question for the day is this: how has knitting or any craft helped you with stress and with health and your well-being? Just tell us whether knitting or any craft has helped you reduce your stress and improved your well-being. Yeah, let's just leave some comments in the section below. We'll have a conversation, and then we'll get back together tomorrow right here for Mornings with 60 and Me. Take good care, everyone. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye for now.